Hello, we are the Elite Four, and this week we are going to talk about cultural and verbal communication. So, according to Woods Chapter 4, it defines language as arbitrary, ambiguous, and abstract. And there are principles of verbal communication saying that language and culture reflect each other. It reflects cultural history, values, and perspectives. The meanings of language are subjective. Therefore, there are constitutive rules that explain how to communicate with them effectively, and punctuation shapes meaning in different cultures. So, how can we improve verbal communication? First, we must engage in dual perspective. Since this is person centered, you have to recognize other people's perspective and take it into account as we communicate. And being aware of their cultural setting or their point of view will be an effective way to communicate with them in a flawless way. We must own our own feelings, and thoughts. We must not share too much of what we're thinking at the moment because that could lead to disrespecting them. And the third rule is to respect of what other people say because they could get easily hurt or disrespected since they're coming in a different cultural background or point of view. And we must strive for accuracy and clarity. Abstract language is particularly likely to lead to misunderstandings, which we don't want. So we want to talk about concrete language and specific examples to effectively communicate. And we chose South Korea as the comparison of United States because their communication is most likely shown through less likely shown through feelings or through facial expressions. So, and we believe that the United States has a significantly larger percentage of diverse race of people with different cultural backgrounds. So we believe that they're more prone to understanding the differences in people's health backgrounds and therefore effectively communicate.
Cultural convenience is the provider's ability to provide care to patients with diverse cultures, beliefs, and values. We need to acknowledge that the provider's cultural background and biases can influence how they perceive their patients and the type of care they provide. There are factors that lead to discrimination in healthcare, and that includes patient factors where patients may refuse to seek treatment because they don't trust their providers. And that's because their providers are not aware of factors that shape their patients' values and cultures, and that leads to discrimination in the care they provide. There are also provider factors where the provider attitude toward their patients is influenced by race and ethnicity, and that's why we see minorities prefer to be seen by physicians who share the same cultural and ethnic backgrounds, claiming that they care for them and their health more than a white physician do. To achieve cultural competence, we can use the LEARN model, where L stands for listening to the patient and understanding their concerns. E stands for explaining the problem and treatment to the patient, and that happens by involving the patient in the treatment plan and making sure they understand their conditions and what are the available treatments for them. A stands for acknowledging the patient's perspective, where we need to understand why a patient may not implement a specific treatment, maybe goes against their culture, belief, or religion. R stands for recommending a treatment, where the provider needs to be considerate of the patient's conditions, but also their values and beliefs. And N stands for negotiating a treatment, where both the provider and the patient need to agree on a treatment to implement, but most importantly, the provider need to choose the treatment with the patients and not for them.
Healthcare professionals must understand the complexity of culture and integrate cultural factors into their health communication efforts. Healthcare communication strategies that healthcare professionals can adopt to eliminate healthcare disparities, convey their expertise in entertainment, education, media advocacy, new technology, and interpersonal communication, including patient-provider communication. It is important for one to learn cultural differences because it will help them make better decisions and increase the chances of making more considerate decisions. Understanding different cultures is important because it's a big part of what influences one's body language. An example is eye contact. In one religion or culture, one making eye contact with someone else may be considered disrespectful, whereas in other cultures, making eye contact is what is respectful. Another example would be handshaking. In some cultures, it is disrespectful for a woman who is married or who has not been married yet to touch the hand or any part of a male, no matter what. Whereas in other cultures, it is understood that it is appropriate and respectful to shake the hand of them when meeting or saying hello for the first time.